and welcome to Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I am Dustin, and I am here today with Denise Hayden of Funky Fun Art. She's the owner of Funky Fun Art, and Denise, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You may notice that the setup is a little different from what we usually have. Denise is going to lead us in painting this painting over here, and while we're painting, you're also going to tell us a little bit about Funky Fun Art and some of the things that you do that are involved with Funky Fun Art.
Absolutely.
I love the name.
Thank you.
Okay, so can you tell us exactly what we're going to be painting?
We're going to be doing a guided painting today, so it's kind of an abstract, just fun, whimsical, I like to call it, painting that we're going to be doing, and it's just really fun and creative.
Okay.
All right, so we'll dive right in.
All right, let's get started.
Okay. You're going to take your largest brush.
Okay.
And you have all of your paint right in front of you.
All right.
We're going to start off with yellow.
All
Let's dive into some of that yellow. And if you see in the top left corner, it's about like the size of your palm. We're looking at like a grapefruit size. So you're going to start just kind of putting that yellow in, kind of like a grapefruit size.
All right, I'm going to look over here.
Sure.
Okay.
Over.
Your grapefruit is a little bit bigger than mine, so they're bigger.
Don't worry about it. It's like we're going to start blending, so we got to start somewhere. So we'll do some of this yellow in there. And then we're going to dip in a little bit of white. And we'll start just kind of swirling it into the middle. So it's going to be a little more concentrated in the center section, and then as you go out, you're going to kind of just mix it in a little bit with that yellow. It's going to start getting a little lighter. Don't worry too much about it.
And this is we're working with acrylics.
Yes, this is acrylic paints that we're working with, which
right.
are great because they're very forgiving and you can have lots of fun with them, and it dries really fast, so it's like instant gratification.
And how about, can you tell us a little bit about Funky Fun Art and what you do?
What we do? Oh, Funky Fun Art. I have classes for adults. I have classes for children. So adult, we do a lot of guided painting classes. Kids, we do all sorts of fun classes. We have comic book classes, we do messy masterpiece classes, just whatever's kind of hot at the moment. We're doing YouTube skit creations and all sorts of fun things. I always ask the kids, like, what do you want to do next? And, create a class for them. So coming up in January, I have like graffiti sneaker classes and recycled t-shirts, scarf classes, like just really fun kind of funky kind of things.
Okay. So you have classes for both adults and for children?
For children, yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. So we have some of this going on. Let's blot off our brush a little bit.
Okay.
Let's dip in. We'll get some of that orange. And we're going to start just kind of working that into this area where we have the yellow going on.
All right.
So don't think too much about it. If you want to swirl some lightly into the yellow, you can. We're going to kind of go back and play with a little bit.
You make it look very easy.
I'm sure yours looks just like mine. Peek over. So don't make it too circular. Like, keep that whole like whimsy and that whole like abstract feeling.
Okay.
Like, we don't want to look at it and see like golf ball, grapefruit, basketball. You want it to be like that irregular and mixy. So after you put that orange on, let's dip in. Don't even clean off your brush. Dip in, get some yellow.
Okay.
And let's mix some of that yellow in. Like, really focus on kind of just getting it messy, mixing it in there. Let those colors kind of just blend, and you'll start seeing them.
Now, how much paint are you putting on your brush? I'm putting on
pretty generous with the
okay.
paint. I feel like, let's get it messy. Let's kind of let it, mix and blend. So, feel free. But that is a great question. It's very heavy on the paint.
Okay. I think I lost some of my yellow, but
That's all right. I could always go back. So I'm going to blot off my brush again. I'm going to dip in. Let's get some red going on, and I'm going to start working it around. And we're not cleaning off our brush because we want all these colors to kind of start mixing and blending and just being really like natural and organic.
And does that also help facilitate the painting not looking like there's a golf ball, an orange, a grapefruit?
We want that like subtle mixing of paint. And we'll go back over so it's a little bit, it's not as defined. We'll go back and mess it up a little.
Okay.
So don't worry. We'll add more red in. So almost, I mean, we have a lot of our painting kind of covered at this point. I would go ahead, fill in the corner, because we're going to go back and stick black on it.
Oh, okay.
But you can go ahead and just start filling in. There's actually a lot of red going on in this painting, so I'm going to actually cover up pretty much almost all of this painting. Now everything is going to end up being in this like swooping motion, so
Okay.
you're going to start focusing on really having this swooping motion, kind of like a backwards C. And then I'm just going to go in and fill in.
And you're still filling in
Still
with
filling
red.
in with red, because we're going to go back and we're going to add some purple, and it's not going to be totally red.
Okay. So if people want to find out more about Funky Fun Art, where would they go?
I have a website, it's funkyfunart.com, and that tells you all about the different classes I have going on, the different workshops, for both kids and adults, that's all on there. I also have gallery pictures on there, so you can see some past work that has been done, so it's just kind of a fun website with lots of stuff going on.
Okay. What got you interested in art? Like, when did you, like, which is your background in art?
My background is not in art. I think
Okay.
I've always just really loved art. I've always had it, you know, as part of my life, but it was more of a hobby, as just something I did. And you always hear that like starving artist phrase, so it's something that you never think you can turn into a really successful kind of career and have that like support you.
Uh-huh.
But I've managed to be able to, you know, get enough going on that it's actually doing really well as a business, and I think it's being flexible and really following your passion for what you love and being flexible for what the kids love, you know, and just being willing to try new things.
And how long have you been teaching?
Teaching, it's been about 10 years now, but Funky
Oh, wow.
Fun Art is it's new, so this has only been like 2 years that Funky Fun Art has
okay.
been existing, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of
That's
exciting.
awesome. Yeah, that must be exciting, like a new startup.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we have lots of red going on. Peek over.
Does this look okay? Like,
That
should I add
looks-
more? Or?
That looks awesome.
Okay.
So
I feel a little bit of pressure here, you know. on
no
TV.
pressure, no pressure. I think you're doing great. Okay, so now we're gonna start diving in. Let's start adding some of that purple.
Okay.
The brightest purple that you have on your plate.
All right.
Let's dip in, and I'm not cleaning off my brush. I'm just gonna dive in, and I'm gonna start kind of that sweeping motion again. I'm gonna start kind of just going from the bottom left corner and sweeping up and blending that. You're gonna see the red start to peek through a little bit.
Okay. So when you are teaching people, like, is this the same way you teach people, or is it more specific to like the person, or it doesn't really matter, you just teach in the same
I think it
way?
depends on the class. I think I'm always willing to change and adapt to what the class needs or wants, I should say, based on their ability. It's also totally different whether it's adults or children, you know, and how you're teaching them. So, yeah, it's flexible.
Okay, all right.
So we're gonna keep going more with that purple. So almost half of your canvas should be pretty much covered at this point.
Okay. That's good, because we're about halfway done with the show.
So keep going with that purple so that almost all of it's covered. And we'll
Alright.
dive back in with a little bit of lightness to lighten it up too.
Okay. You know what I like about this is that it doesn't have to be so precise. You're not saying,
Exactly.
take, the 3 inches over from the top right, it should, be all purple or something. It's,
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
very relaxing. I feel like painting, especially when you come to it should be enjoyable, it should be relaxing. You should be able to just kind of let go. It's not, don't focus so much we get so tight about like how it's being done, and we forget to just like let loose and like let it flow and create, you know?
Right. Because it's supposed to be fun.
Exactly. All right. So I also gave you, there's a light purple and there's a light pink on your plate.
Okay.
Let's dive into some of that light pink maybe.
All right.
And we'll start kind of just putting that into the middle of that purpley area that you did.
Okay.
And we're going to start lightening up it a little bit. It's going to start really blending. It's going to be really mixy. And I always tell everyone, every class that we're doing, if you are leaning towards a certain color that you're really feeling and you want more of that on your painting, by all means put that color on if that's a color that you love.
Okay.
Same thing with colors that you may not be so fond of. If you want less of that color on your painting, do less of it. It's your painting. You're the one going home with it.
Okay. So you've been teaching now for about 10 years. What do you feel is like the most challenging thing when teaching a new student, someone who does not have any artistic ability? Or do you find it to be a challenge?
It's funny because kids are so willing to just kind of dive in and try things, and they come up with the most amazing ideas, things that like I would never even think of trying or doing. So working with them, it's amazing because they're always doing something new, willing to try things. They're not as fearful. As we get older and we become adults, there's a little bit of hesitancy in most adults when they're trying something new, especially like painting. If they don't have, a painting background or an art background, there's always that hesitation. There's always that, am I doing it right? Is this, there's lots of needing to reassure them, like, yes, you're doing it right. The end result will be good, I promise you.
Right.
So there's a lot of that with adult classes, just totally different, dynamics between adults and children when you're doing it. But it's interesting and fun.
Okay.
All right. So most of our painting, we have most of it going on. Yeah.
I think I should add more purple.
That's okay. Well, what we can do, we can dive into that light purple that we
Light
haven't
purple?
touched yet.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. And we'll kind of start putting some of that in here. Just to add a little bit of extra. And then you can start mixing it too. You could add some of that dark purple in, see how you feel about it. Remember to keep that swooping motion. We're really focusing on like this movement that the painting is going to have. So yeah.
Okay.
And it looks like we could even, what you have done. Excellent.
Should I try to get more toward the edge?
You're doing good.
Okay.
I would throw some more purple up there.
All right.
Just because we're gonna start working some of the black into the edges, but the black is very kind of just, on the outside, just kind of framing it a little bit.
Okay.
So there's some purple.
Trying to keep with the flow here, because
Got
I see
it.
what you mean by having the flow of this painting match this one so that you can actually feel it in the painting.
Yes, exactly. It's that movement. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's add a little bit of black. Now I always say when you're adding black to a painting, especially like a colorful painting, to kind of work it in slowly because, we can always add more, but taking it away is really difficult.
Okay.
So if you're looking at the painting that we're basing it off of, we're going to start moving it into these corners. And again, I'm following that natural movement where I want to swoop it in. So I'm going to go in and start swooping it in. And slowly I could start working up and down. So you're going to have a little bit of black on the edges.
Okay.
And then we're going to do a little bit from this corner
Okay.
and a little on this corner down here.
Okay. Well, we have about 10 seconds left, so
Okay.
I'm gonna finish off these little corners,
Perfect.
and then we're gonna come right back,
Okay.
and we'll continue on the other side. So,
Excellent.
this is Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and I'm here with Denise Hayden of Funky Fun Art. And as you can see, we are doing a painting in real time, so we'll be right back.
Local government, local educational institutions, and local community members all use cable access TV to communicate their message. They depend upon it as an affordable means of outreach. Public educational and government access television empowers local government agencies, individuals, and groups to use the media to speak directly to their constituents in a more direct and cost-effective way. Make sure everyone has a voice. Support your local PEG channels.
Welcome back to Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and I'm here with Denise Hayden of Funky Fun Art. And as you can see, we are in the middle of painting this painting, but on our own campuses. So we're going to get started. So Denise, what should we do next?
We're going to start with our medium-sized brush.
Okay.
And we're looking at the background, or well, we did our background. We're looking at the tree that's kind of in front of the background. So we're looking at that swirly black tree, was what we're going to call it.
Okay.
And you're going to pick a spot to start on your canvas,
Okay.
dip into some black paint.
All right. Now, is it generous or is it small amount?
We can start off with a small amount because this
Okay.
is really going to kind of get us like a guide for where it's going to go.
Okay.
So looking at your canvas, decide where that tree needs to start.
Okay.
We have black on the corners, so you can't you can't go on the black part. You need to
All right.
cheat over a little bit. So we're looking at kind of not halfway through our canvas, but I would say like 3/4 of the way, and you're going to start kind of giving yourself a little tree. So I'm going to start off with a very basic shape on the bottom, like a little triangle. Just picture a triangle in your mind. And this is really just setting up kind of a base for our tree.
All right.
Okay? Once you have that little triangle, you're going to look at the movement of the tree. And I'm looking at the main shape of it, not the little swirls that are on the side. And with that same kind of energy, you're going to go from that little triangle and you're going to kind of swoop up and over. Just one fluid motion. You're going to run out of paint. That's okay because we're going to go back over it. So that's going to be our general shape of it. We're going to pick up where it left off and kind of continue over. And you're going to be stopping kind of, I would say, right when it's about to go to the middle of the center white and yellow area.
Okay.
And then you can go ahead and put that first little swirl in, which is just like that. Okay. And then we're going to look, I know it's not a complete line right now, so don't worry about that. This is really just giving us a guide, and we're going to go back in and thicken everything up. So now I'm looking at that bottom swoop, which is going the other way, and you can see that the two kind of frame out that white, the white and yellow area, which let's say it's the sun, let's say, even though it's just this whimsical abstract. So you're framing it out. So pick a spot that you want to start on your bottom here.
Okay.
And you're going to kind of go up and swoop down and around. And don't think too much about it, just whatever comes out, because we're going to make it work. It's okay.
Okay.
All right?
That's what I like about it. It'll more at the
It's
end.
gonna work out.
Yes. Because when my picture is up on the wall, no one's going to see this one to compare it to.
Exactly.
So
Your
it'll
picture stands alone, so if you're feeling something, you need to go with it. So now that we did where that little swirly is going to go, we're going to add the little kind of end swirl to it. As much or as little as you would like. No right or wrong here. Okay. Pick a few areas. You can see that there's extra little swirls. So the branch that we just did, there's kind of a little swirl that kind of comes off of it and just kind of, you know, a little swirly right here. Almost where that branch started, there's a little swirl that goes off to the right, and it's a little bit bigger, but, you know, we're going to kind of go up and give yourself a little generous circular area so that you have room that you can actually kind of wrap it around and swirl inside. Okay. All right.
All right.
And then our last little swirl is going to be just above that. Kind of, we're looking at that top swirl right there. Pick a spot that comes off of that tree. And this one's a little bit smaller than that last very aggressive swirl that we just did. So you're just going to go up and whoop, little swirl. Okay.
Okay.
So then I always say, like, take a little step back, look at it, make sure you're happy with the shape. I mean, the black, it's there, so we have to kind of make whatever we just did work.
Okay.
Now is the time where you can go in, you could add extra little swirls if you wanted to, but this is mainly the time where you're going to go back and you're going to thicken those lines.
Okay.
So all we're going to do is just find those little spots where the paint maybe broke up a little bit. You're going to thicken it up. Naturally, if we're calling this like our whimsical tree, you need to thicken up where the base would go. Think of a regular tree, you have your base, it's not going to go right to this itty bitty little line. So at the bottom, I'm just going to go back, I'm going to thicken that up, make it flow a little more naturally. At that point, I always say if you need to thicken up your base. This is based on the little swirly lines that you just made. So if you had a situation where you made a thicker line somewhere, you might go down and actually widen up your base to kind of have your proportions make a little bit more sense.
Okay.
Okay? How are your lines looking?
I think they're looking pretty good.
Yeah?
I need,
swirls?
I need to thicken them up in a few places, but
Yeah.
otherwise I think they look okay.
Okay, perfect. I mean, this is the part where you would really just kind of play and, get this how you really want it to be. Thicken up where you need to go. I always say while you're doing it, step back, because up close, the painting always looks so different that when you're like right on top of the painting. So sometimes you really need to step back and you realize like, oh, you know what? Like it does flow, it does work.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
So would you recommend someone, like if someone's watching this and they're like, you know what, I'm inspired, I want to paint, and they just go and get a canvas and they start painting, I mean, would you recommend that, or do you
absolutely.
like,
I mean,
okay.
if you, yeah, absolutely. Paintings, I mean, you just saw how we broke it down. You know, you start from the backwards and you kind of work your way to the front. So, especially if you're looking at something that you want to replicate or duplicate, you know, you can do that. I mean, it's going to take a little practice, just like with anything. It's going to take a little practice. I would say start off with something that looks achievable and easy, but you could also just grab a canvas and just paint and see what just comes out of you without
Okay.
trying to, you know, mimic another painting. That's
Okay.
also possible.
Right.
All right. So how do you feel about your whimsical tree?
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Awesome. All right. So this is the part where then we would take our tiny little brush that I have there. Once you're happy with, you know, the tree shape in general.
Okay.
You're going to take this tiny little brush that we have and you're going to start adding in these little kind of whimsical, like floating, I guess, I think of like a willow tree where it's kind of like that, you know, that natural like flowing down. So we're not looking for straight lines. We're looking for just like this natural flow.
Okay.
And we're using white and red and yellow, but you can really use whatever colors you
Okay.
would like. You have tons of different ones on your plate. So I'm going to start off with just diving into some yellow and picking some areas. You're going to notice in the original painting there's some larger circles, even though they're not exactly circles.
Uh-huh.
There's some larger circles. So that's a good starting point, is to give yourself some of these circles just randomly all around. Make sure you do some on the top of the branch. Make sure you do some on the bottom of the branch.
Okay.
And then when you find one that you want to drive down, you're just going to start taking some paint and really organically kind of dotting it very lightly on your canvas and work your way down, okay? And remember, we don't want this straight line, so I'm not focusing on going straight down. I'm really kind of moving my hand around, moving your brush around, and you can see that it's going to stagger and go all the way down.
We're still using the yellow, or just?
I'm using the yellow. I'm going all the way down with that. And you're changing the pressure when you go with your brush. So you're going to notice that some of your little dots are going to be very aggressive, maybe some are very light, and that'll change the flow of how it's going down.
Okay.
So we're going to pick another one somewhere, and you're just going to dot some of those little dots down. It's really just the lightest little touch. There's no right or wrong. And then once you have that kind of whimsical little trail going down, you're just going to start adding other colors. So you can dip in to orange, let's say, and add some orange going down. And you're
Still
just
the same brush, right?
Same brush. We're not going to clean off. We're not going to worry about it because it's going to be all mixy anyway. And then even you can add some red into it, and you're going to see that that's going to start really making it pop, especially when you're going across those lighter colors. And as you're playing with these, you can go back on top and you can add some little areas next to those other little bigger dots that we did up top. You can add some other ones. We just dipped into red.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
I'll add some red ones there.
And it just really is a matter of like how light you touch the canvas. It's just like
it's
to your
just playing
personal
with it, exactly.
Okay.
So I would recommend, if you're doing it, I mean, if you want to have this natural flow, maybe you have like a little bit of a heavier touch when you start at the top, and then as you work your way down, maybe you start a lighter touch so it kind of naturally will trail off.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
I tend to be a bit heavy-handed, so this
But
is.
that's okay too. I mean, you can make this as heavy as you want. You can have them be these very like, you know, robust hanging vines coming down.
Cool.
Okay. So you're switching colors over there? You're doing all
I'm
sorts of
doing
different...
orange and yellow,
Oh,
and not
perfect.
yellow, but yeah, I'm doing yellow too, and
Okay.
red. But I understand what you mean by having to step back and take a look at it, because if
Yeah,
you're up so
step
close,
back.
it's a little hard to gauge like
Exactly.
exactly what you need to do.
And these little dots, you're going to see that more of them are surrounding that black branch area. So, every once in a while, when you change colors on your brush, just go at the top and add some little dots around the branches and make some larger, make some smaller. You want this really kind of just random, abstract kind of feeling going on it. And they're all over. So as you're painting it, this is when we would really just kind of hang out. We would play and just see where we thought these little dots should go. So
I'm adding a little white in here. I hope that's
perfect.
okay.
No, you should be adding white. That absolutely. Add some white in. I always say, if that's what you feel, if you told me, oh, I'm going to add purple in, I would say, okay, go add some purple in. Whatever you're feeling.
So even if you are mimicking a painting, you don't have to look at it and say, okay, I have to use only these colors. You can just pretty much use whatever you want.
Use anything you want. And we could have looked at this painting and done the exact painting the same, but we could have maybe chose blues and greens instead of, the reds and oranges and purples. We could have done a totally different color family.
Okay. Wonderful. So we have about 2 minutes left. So I want to remind people who are just joining us that you are Denise Hayden of Funky Fun Art. And how can people reach you again?
On funkyfunart.com, there's all my information on there. All my classes are listed on there. Lots of gallery pictures, so there's lots of fun things to check out on there.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay.
Now, should I be doing... I should be on this side.
Yeah, wherever
I've
you
really been
just see
focusing
it.
on the left
That's
side
okay.
here.
Well, the left side is the exciting side because that's where you really see those colors pop out because we have that lightness in the background,
right.
So it's kind of more exciting. But yeah, we don't want to neglect kind of the other areas. So treat this whole black tree as okay, all of this needs some attention. So wherever you feel like there should be some little hanging things. And you could change colors. You could try different colors. There's no right or wrong.
This is cool. This is...
You liking it? Digging it?
Yeah, because it's so different. It's not...
It is super different.
Exactly. It's not anything that you would say, okay, it has to be this way. It's basically whatever you feel it should be.
Wherever it should go. Yeah.
And apparently my painting is saying it should be going straight down and very inconsistent. So we have a minute left, and I wanted to make sure that if you had anything else that you wanted us to know, is there
About me?
Yes, or about your art or anything, just what would you like to let us know?
Well, at first I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. So this has been a real pleasure for me as a new experience. I really love it. And I love having Dustin in class. She comes to my classes, and she's so much fun, and all the ladies love her there. And I hope that you enjoy them.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're very casual, though. I think that's all I want people to realize is that it's approachable. Any sort of art is approachable, and it's really just about attitude when you go into it and being open and willing to try something new.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. We've never done this before, Denise, so this is very different for us as well. So we appreciate you coming on and guiding us in this picture, and hopefully we'll do some more at another time.
Cool.
So thanks for being on. This is Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I'm Dustin, and I will see you next time. Bye.